हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण। जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। जमुना तीरा वनचारिय। जमुना तीरा वनचारिय। जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। जमुना तीरा वनचारिय। जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। कृष्ण हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमती डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमती डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की ऑल ग्लोरीज टू assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायामुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपः कुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। हरे कृष्ण। Hare Krishna. This morning we are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4th, entitled The Creation of Fourth Order, Chapter 21, entitled Instructions by Maharaj Prithu. Text 8 and 9. Text 8 does not have a purport, so we'll just read the text 8 and translation, and today's verse for recitation will be text 9. Text 8. सुत उवाच तद आदिराजस्य यशो वृजंबितं गुणैरशेषैर्गुणवत् सभाजितं शत्ता महाभागवता सदस्पते कौश्रवीं प्रभाघ्रनन्तं आचार्यन्. So the Goswami continued, O Shaunaka, leader of the great sages, after hearing Maitreya speak about the various activities of King Prithu, the original king who was fully qualified, glorified, and widely praised all over the world, Vidura, the great devotee, very submissively worshipped Maitreya Rishi and asked him the following question. So today's verse of recitation is text 9. Vidura Uvacha So Abhikshita Pruthur Viprair Labdha Asesha Surarhana Bhibrata Sa Vaishnavam Tejo Bahavyor Yabhyam Dudoha Gam. Vidura Uvacha Sobhikshita Pruthurviprair Sobhikshita Pruthurviprair Labdha se Shesha Surarha Labdha se Surarana Bibrita sa Vishwavam Tejo Bibrita sa Vaishnavam Tejo Bhavyoryabhyam Dudhogagam Bhavyoryabhyam Dudohagam. Vidura Uvacha Sobhikshita Pruthurviprair Labdha Sesha Surarhanha Vibrasa Vaishyavam Tejo Bhavyoryabhyam Dudhogagam. Vidura Uvacha Sobhikshita Pruthurviprair Labdha Sesha Surarhanha Vibrasa Vaishnavam Tejo Bhavyoryabhyam Dudohagam. श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन भगवान की, श्री श्री गौरनिताय चंद्र भगवान की, श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा माई की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की. प्लीज रिसाइट. विदुरा उवाच लब्धा शेषासुरारणः बिभ्रात् स वैष्णवं तेजो बाह्योर्याभ्यां दुदोहगम्. विदुर उवाच सोभीक्षिता पृथुर्विप्रेर लब्धा शेषासुरार्हणः बिभ्रात् स वैष्णवं तेजो बाह्योर्याभ्यां दुदोहगम्. विदुर उवाच सोभीक्षितं विपुर्विप्रेर लब्ध्वा शेषासुरार्हणः बिभ्रात्सां वैष्णवां तेजो बाहुयोर्याभ्यां दुदोहगम्. विदुर उवाच सोभीक्षिता पृथुर्विप्रे लब्धा शेषासुरार्हणः बिभ्रात्वा वैष्णवं तेजो बाह्योर्याभ्यां दुदोहगम्. Anybody from Vaishnavis? We'll see word to word meaning. Vidura uvacha. Vidura said, Sa he, King Prithu, Abhikshita, when enthroned, Prutho, King Pruthu, we pray by the great sages and Brahmanas. Labdha, achieved, Asesha, innumerable, Surarhana, presentations by the demigods. Bibrata, expanding, Sa, he, Vaishnavam, who has received through Lord Vishnu. Teja, strength, Bahvo, arms, Yayabhyam, by which Dudhoho, exploited, Gam, earth. Vidura said, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Vidura said, my dear Brahmana Maitreya, it is very enlightening to understand that King Prithu was enthroned by the great sages and Brahmanas. All the demigods presented him with innumerable gifts, and he also expanded his influence upon personally receiving strength from Lord Vishnu. Thus, he greatly developed the earth. Please recite the translation in response. Vidura said, my dear Brahmana Maitreya, it is very enlightening to understand that King Prithu was enthroned by the great sages and Brahmanas. All the demigods presented him with innumerable gifts, and he also expanded his influence upon personally receiving strength from Lord Vishnu. Thus, he greatly developed the earth. Purport. Because Prithu Maharaj was an empowered incarnation of Lord Vishnu and was naturally a great Vaishnava devotee of the Lord, all the demigods were pleased with him and presented different gifts to help him in exercising his royal power. And the great sages and saintly persons also joined in his coronation. Thus, blessed by them, he ruled over earth and exploited its resources for the greatest satisfaction of the people in general. This has already been explained in the previous chapters regarding the activities of King Prithu. As will be apparent from the next verse, every executive head of the state should follow in the footsteps of Maharaj Prithu in ruling over his kingdom. Regardless of whether the chief executive is a king or a president, or whether the government is monarchical or democratic, this process is so perfect that if it is followed, everyone will become happy, and thus it will be very easy for all to execute devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण. So first of all, I seek blessings from all the assembled devotees, in particular His Grace Anandmaya Prabhu, so that we can discuss from Srimad Bhagavatam. And in this particular section of Srimad Bhagavatam, we are witnessing how King Prithu Maharaj was again welcomed back into his kingdom, having performed 99 horse sacrifices and having seen Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face, and having been blessed by him, the King Prithu is coming back to the kingdom once again to rule with more power and more influence. So this particular two words, Vaishnavanam Tejo, means having received the strength from Lord Vishnu himself, he again is ruling the kingdom. So there was nothing wrong in the way Prithu Maharaj was already ruling. So this coronation that has happened after Prithu Maharaj has executed 99 Ashwamedha Yagyas is not that he is now coronated and previously was not the king. Previously he was a king, but now he again recoronated because he has received more strength. So in the previous times, the kings, if they go out on a mission of acquiring more land under their kingdom, and after they become successful, and when they come back, again a kind of a coronation used to happen. Not that he has now become a king, but because now he has become a king with more influence, like that. So this was a tradition in the past, that the king always used to increase his influence, not just for his egoistic pleasures, but just to make sure that the law and order is properly in place. If any kingdom is not working according to law and order, that is a time when a superior king will conquer and occupy that kingdom, so that the law and order is maintained properly, not just because that he has a personal gratification of becoming a bigger king. If any other small kingdom used to be ruling according to law and order, and the superior king used to make friendship with him, and there used to be a mutual exchange of tax and honor between those two kingdoms. Not that every kingdom the king used to attack. It was not such a situation. However, here Prithu Maharaj is now welcomed back with great, respect and love from all the citizens of his kingdom. He has been welcomed with royal insignia, and the streets are decorated nicely. Auspicious people come forward to welcome him, like that. So in this way, the kings used to live life. The kings used to have a very good character in themselves, and to be a king was not a very easy job. And to be a king was not just that you know how to do politics. A king has to have a very good qualities in themselves. That's where these kind of kings were. That's why called as Rajarshis. Like Krishna tells to Arjuna that this is a Rajarshi Parampara. So what is the qualities of kings in Rajarshi Parampara? So we have seen in the previous chapters, chapter 16, 17 of this canto, the qualities of King Prithu. So before Prithu Maharaj had actually appeared, there was another king named Vena. And he was exactly opposite of the qualities of Prithu Maharaj. So that's why people became frustrated under King Prithu's region. So generally, citizens look up to a king, that this king will be an ideal person who will protect me, who will take care of us. This is how citizens look up to a king, as an ideal person. But the same citizens, when they see that the king is irreligious, they become very frustrated. That all the efforts they put in paying the taxes is going to a wrong person. So that is one of the great dissension people in the Kali Yuga have. Why is it that the people in this age do not want to give taxes? The reason is that they know that the taxes is going into the pockets of the administrators, not being utilized for our welfare. Whereas if the king is very righteous and he uses all the resources that is collected from taxes for the citizens, then citizens will pay taxes. There was no department like anti-corruption bureau or income tax raids, and all these things were not there because everyone was honest and everyone used to pay taxes to the king because they knew that king will not misuse it. Like we would keep our treasury with some person who would know that he would not misuse it. The moment a person knows that this guy might misuse, immediately people will start different ways how not to pay taxes. So that is one of the reason why the situation in this modern times is not a very happy situation. Neither the citizens are good, neither the kings are good. So it is a both ways work out for the people how to live happily. So of course definitely the reformation should come from the side of the kings. It is not that all the citizens will one day wake up and feel that they are free of anarthas and they will live a pure life. That won't happen. Rather, if we elect a king who is very righteous, that may give a hope of a better society tomorrow. So anyways, the scriptures speak about some of the qualities of a king, what qualities a king should have, with some examples also. In the previous chapters we have seen that the professional reciters, when Prithu Maharaj had appeared, they compared the personality of Prithu Maharaj like a sun. Because sun has some specific characteristics, because of which sun is a sun. The first thing is that sun has no competitor. Like in the sky, when the sun comes, you will not see any other luminary objects in the sky. Of course, when moon rises in the night, you will see that there are so many stars. So in one sense, we can say that moon has so many competitors. That may be little bit understandable because so many stars are also visible in the sky, and at the same time moon is also visible. But sun, when sun appears in the sky, sun has no competitors. So that's why the position of the king is not subjected, at least in the Vedic times, by some competition or votes. The sun does not depend on other luminaries to become strong luminary. Rather, all other luminaries depend on sun. So the king's position is like that he has no competitors. Another quality because of which a king is compared to sun is that the sun extracts water from various parts of the world. And when sun distributes rain, it distributes evenly even at those places where it has not extracted water. Like for example, sometimes the rain happens in the ocean also, sometimes the rain happens in the deserts also, sometimes on the other tracts of lands. So the idea is that the king should extract taxes from people who are wealthy and distribute it to the poor in terms of their necessities, in terms of food, in terms of clothing, in terms of places of residence. And you will see in the entire transaction of what sun does, of extracting water in the form of water vapor and distributing the water to the various people, the sun himself does not keep any water with himself. Right? Whereas that is not the scenario in these days. A king extract taxes and may sometimes make schemes that the wealth of the tax be used for the citizens. But what happens is, in the process of doing, so many of the pockets get bigger and bigger. The king, the administrators, the mayors, so many people eat up. Sometimes we see that when we go for government contracts, the people who are government contracts, they directly tell that I want 10% of the contract for signing the contract. So this is not the king's duty. The king's duty is you extract taxes, you distribute the taxes, at the end of the whole thing you have nothing. That is the role of a king. And another reason why in the Vedic times, the king is compared to a sun, is that standing at one place, the sun expands his influence almost more than 60% of the Bhumandala. The Bhumandala is a very huge tract of land. And even though now we see that earth is some millions of miles away from sun, the influence of sun is very well felt. It is not that when sun rises we feel that oh, sun is very far. I am away from the influence of sun just because very far. It was not like that. So even though king may be situated at one place on the planet earth, his influence of his rules used to extend every corner of earth. Every corner of earth. It is described that before Mahabharata, Hastinapur was the central capital of ruling entire world, not just India, but the tracts of lands like Russia, Europe, America. Sometimes people feel that the America was discovered like just 200, 300 years ago. But it was not so. Even in the Vedic times, there used to be people living in continents like North America, South America, Australia, Africa. So even though they are very far off a tract of lands, they may not be able to even see the king who is living in Hastinapur. But still, what do you say? The flag of Hastinapur, the one kingdom of flag, used to be raised all over the world. So that is the reason why the king is compared to a sun. Because sun's influence, even though it is standing at one place, its influence is very far and wide. That is one of the reasons why a king is compared to a sun. Another reason why a king is compared to a sun is that sun in his personal behavior is perfect. There is no spot on the characteristic of sun. Like sometimes we tell that the moon has a spot, spot of a rabbit, but the sun does not have any spot. Sun in his personal behavior is very perfect. Wakes up at the exact time, sun sets at exact time, and the track of the sun is also very perfect. You will never see that sun by mistake had on a particular day risen little late, or sun on a particular day set happen later. Never happens like that. So that is one of the reason the king is also supposed to have very spotless personal character. This kind of a behavior you will see in the life of Lord Ramachandra also. Whenever there is a question of personal character, Lord Ramachandra was very strict. So that is the reason why kings are compared to a sun. Just like sun spreads his influence all over the world, it is not that on a hut of a poor person, the sunshine will be little less. And on a very rich person's house, the sunshine will be more. It won't happen like that. The sun equally distributes its light and energy to all the people. So similarly, a king's rules and regulations should be equal to everyone. It's not that if a king's son does some mistake, that person is pardoned because he is king's relative. It never used to be like that. So only when a person has such characteristics in his personal behavior, then only the Brahmanas, see here it is mentioned that the king was enthroned by Brahmanas and sages. So it is not that king by force himself will become king. Just like you will see Vena, after having become king, he disregarded all the people saying that I am the god now. So a king will never do such kind of a mistake. That I am, although the kingdom was monarchical means one person ruling the entire kingdom. Does not mean that he doesn't regard the respects to the Brahmanas and sages. So in this way, Prithu Maharaj used to rule their citizens. In the previous chapters, when there is the qualities of Prithu Maharaj have been mentioned, it is also mentioned that a king should be like a earth, Bhudevi. So why a king is compared to be or is expected to be like a Bhudevi? Because the earth supplies necessities for everyone. For that be food grains, for that be minerals, plants, fruits, everything what we want is dependent on Mother Earth. And Mother Earth, what do you say, takes natural resources, like it takes the sunlight, it takes water and gives the nourishment to the plants. And in this way, it supplies necessities to all the citizens. So similarly, a king should have a mechanism by which all the citizens' necessities are taken care. Nobody should go hungry. Nobody should go, what do you say, a very poverty-stricken situation. At least in terms of food, at least in terms of necessity, nobody used to feel that they are famished. So this is the way a king used to arrange for necessities of everyone. And at the same time, earth is also very tolerant. We, being the children of earth, we sometimes trample on the earth, we stand on the earth, but the earth never complains about it. Sometimes to make living places for human being, the king sometimes used to level mountains. So in one sense, it is a pain inflicted upon earth to dig or to move mountains. But still Mother Earth bears all that thing and gives necessities. So this is magnanimity of Mother Earth. So similarly, a king, if needed, should sacrifice its personal interest to take care of citizens. So that was the very qualities of kings. And that's the reason why, to develop all these qualities, the kings used to go to Gurukul and live like a very simple person, serve the spiritual master, understand how to rule, become qualified, and then become a king. A king never used to be some businessman or a politician just for the sake of power. Nowadays, because of money being a very important character in the society, people think that those who have money can become kings. It's not that. A person, that is not a necessity quality or qualification of a king, that he should have lot of money. He should have all these qualities, then he can become a king. Also in the previous chapters, it is described how a king rules a kingdom. And sometimes it is described that he is very, very secretive. Secretive in the sense, what kind of policies he is implementing, what kind of taxation policies, what kind of arrangements he is making, is very, very secretive. Not everyone can understand. So sometimes it is described that, just like when we see from the surface of an ocean, just by seeing the surface, we don't know how much wealth is hidden under the ocean, because the wealth is very depth. The jewels and pearls which ocean has, it is very deep. So just by seeing the outer surface, we can't make out. So similarly, how much wealth the king has, the citizens never used to make out how much wealth he has. But the moment you have any necessity, the king used to supply the necessity. It is not that king will say that wait for some time, some other policies will yield us lot of wealth, and only then I will fulfill the desires of you. So the king has this way of functioning. He has his treasury, he has his policies of how he will exact taxes and take care of citizens, but not all the citizens will come to know what is happening. So a king, that's why it is said that a king is a person who sees through spies. So king used to have spies to see how his policies are getting executed. Whether whatever I made some policy, whether the policies are getting benefited to the grassroots level. He used to have spies. It is not that a king will depend on some news channel to understand what is happening in his kingdom. Before anything happens, sometimes king used to understand that this is what is the plan. So in that way, king is very, very secretive. He does not reveal his opulences, and sometimes even the king used to doubt his own spies. That is also one of the quality of a king. So sometimes he himself used to become like a spy. He used to disguise himself like a normal citizen to go around in the kingdom and see what is the situation in the society. So this is how the qualities of king are very, very, what do you say, great. Hmm? Sometimes it is described in the previous chapters also, we see that the king is described like a lion. Hmm? Why it is described like a lion? Because when lion comes out in the forest, it roars. Hmm? And just by the sound of the roars, all the mischievous animals, they go and hide themselves, like jackals and other animals. Why it is described like that? And when a king comes out in the forest, all these mischievous elements, they hide themselves. Because a king always used to create fear amongst those who are miscreants, those who want to act illegally. The king used to be very, very ferocious for them. Nobody in a righteous king's kingdom will do a mistake and walk away very peacefully. Like in today's society, we see that to punish a bigger sinner takes bigger time, and to punish a smaller sinner takes less time. But it was not to be like that. When a king is standing, when he is ruling, anybody who does miscreants, he used to be immediately get punished. So all these animals, like jackals, are compared to people who are miscreants. Why? Because you will see that jackal will never feed on its own hunt. Jackal will feed on others' hunt. So those who want to usurp the property which is reserved by others, they are compared to jackals. Those who by mistake steal away the wealth of others, those who do not stand upon their own hard-earned money, they are like people who are jackals. So the kings used to be very careful about how to use wealth. That wealth which does not belong to us, the kings used to never extract it out. And those who do that, the kings used to be very strict in punishing that kind of citizens. So this is called as a rod of punishment. The king, it is mentioned in the Vedas, scriptures, that a king carries a rod of punishment. The rod of punishment necessarily need not be a rod, but his rules and regulations used to be like rod. So generally in the childhood, whenever we used to see the rod in the teacher's hand, the child acts rightly or learns nicely. Sometimes it is mentioned in the scriptures that a guru should have a rod, not for beating, but the children sometimes when they see the rod only they will learn it rightly. The guru need not beat the children with the rod. Just by showing the rod, the children will behave nicely. So similarly, the king should have a punishment rod, a rod of punishment. And just by seeing that rod, all the miscreants will follow the rules and regulations nicely. So all these things of a king needs a very well trained personality. And it is not that a king will become a king by votes or by political arrangements or by killing or by violence. A king becomes king by his qualities. And everyone in the society respects such a king. So it is misfortune that in Kali Yuga, such a king is really very rare. Such Rajarshis who live their life according to the guidance of the scriptures, according to the rules and regulations of scriptures, a very, very rare personality. So Srimad Bhagavatam, along with describing the pastimes of Supreme Personality of Godhead, describes about Varnashram system, about how the qualities of the king should be. It's all why he does so. Prabhupada writes in the last line that thus it will be very easy for all to execute devotional service to Supreme Personality of Godhead. So having such a king will facilitate people to become good devotees. And the king himself also used to be a very good devotee. It is not that the king used to be fully busy in his administrative affairs and he himself does not have time for performing religious activities. So all these arrangements of a king is to help citizens to execute devotional service to Supreme Personality of Godhead. So with this kind of a goal, if a king is being enthroned, then the citizens will live very happily. So Prithu Maharaj was such a powerful incarnation. Through his personal example, through his personal teachings, he made the whole society Krishna conscious. That's why Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, Yadyad acharati sheshtas tattat evaitro jana sayat pramanam kurte lokastad anuvartate. So people generally wants to follow a king who is very righteous. So this is the way of Varnashram system. And a very righteous king like Prithu Maharaj can himself become a very good devotee, go back to Godhead. Because he went back to Godhead, many people follow the same path. So this is what I thought we will discuss in today's Bhagavatam class. The characteristics of a king and how Prithu Maharaj exemplified all those. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. Anybody has any questions on this subject topic? Can please ask. Yes, Prabhu? Hmm. Okay. Why Prithu Maharaj is referred in the text 8 as Adi Raja? I'm just reading that, I'm just seeing the text 8. Adi Raja, when we give a prefix of Adi, generally refers to the first person. Like when we refer Krishna as Adi Guru, refers to the Krishna being the first Guru from where other sampradayas have come. So here Prithu Maharaj is referred as Adi Raja because he is a Shakti Avesh avatar of Prithu, Shakti Avesh avatar of Vishnu. So Shakti Avesh avatar means that he is a Jiva only, but he was imbued with certain power by Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Prithu Maharaj is imbued with the power of ruling the kingdom. So this Adi Raja, just like Krishna is Adi Guru, he is Adi Raja also. So that Shakti of Adi Raja is now with Prithu Maharaj. So that's why Prithu Maharaj is referred as Adi Raja. That is my understanding. If Anand Prabhu would like to add or would like to say okay for this. Okay? Yes, Hare Krishna. Hmm. Let me see. Shatta is Vidura and Kausaravim means Maitreya. So Vidura was born to was lived in a Kshatriya family. Vidura was born to Vyasadev through a dasi in Hastinapur. So such class of people who are not Kshatriyas by lineage but lived in like Kshatriyas. If I am not wrong, that class of people were called as Kshattas. That class of people who lived in the kingdom but not genealogically born through Kshatriyas are called as Kshattas. This is what is my understanding of the word called Kshatta. Now, Kausharivim is to Maitreya. Even I need to be sure, I am not sure. Because generally many times people are referred to in by their lineage. So this Kausha Ravim should be any antecedent of Maitreya because of which he is being referred like that. If Anandmay Prabhu knows a particular etymology of that word, he can mention. But generally a person is referred to his his genealogical superiors. So there should be somebody in Maitreya's this thing because of which he is called as Kausari. Okay. Any further questions? So thank you all very much for giving this me opportunity. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.